Hey family and friends, Blair Phillips here, going to do our second to last video here in our devotional Advent series here in 2020 on Jesus the Lamb and his relationship with the New Jerusalem city. And so I'm actually going to be using my phone for this one because in the end of Revelation chapter 21 leading into chapter 22, the last two chapters in the Bible are just these glorious chapters that talk about the beginning of the millennial reign of Christ on the earth, and this city, the New Jerusalem city, this capital where he reigns physically on the earth from. And it dynamically talks about the relationship of Jesus with this city. And some of these things we're going to list, but it all mentions them under the context of him being the Lamb. So again, why Jesus as the Lamb? Not just at the cross for our redemption of sins, not just for the restoration of the earth to the Lord, but this is actually part of his eternal manifestation. This is one of the names of Jesus and the revelations of Jesus that continues on into all of time. And so just to hit on some of these, Revelation chapter 21:14, John the apostle sees that this city that Jesus has made, coming down from heaven from God, being planted on the earth, being built on the earth in a way, has 12 foundation stones. And on those foundation stones are actually written the 12 names of the apostles. It's super practical. You think about John writing that, and he takes humility to write that. I mean, it's what the Lord showed him, that his own name was there. Moving on, Revelation chapter 21, verse 22, the relationship of Jesus as the Lamb and there being a temple, or actually the lack of a temple. It says, "But I saw no temple in this city, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are its temple." The tabernacle, the temple have been places of dwelling, representation of dwelling of God on the earth. But we are living for this day when there is no need for a temple because Jesus is on the earth. He is the full manifestation of the Father, of which we are longing for. Revelation 21:23, just the next verse. "The city had no need of the sun or of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God illuminated it, and the Lamb is its light." Now, there's a lot of other biblical context to this that probably the sun and the moon are still in existence, but it's just talking about the illumination of light from Jesus as the Lamb. Again, this whole thread is coming from Revelation chapter 5 of John seeing Jesus as a lamb, as slain in the midst of the throne in heaven. And now that's being manifested on the earth. But there's light coming from Jesus as the slain lamb and the illumination of the revelation of who he is that goes on for eternity. And then we go into Revelation chapter 22, verse 1. There is a river that comes from the throne. And it says that he, an angel, showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding from the throne of God and from the Lamb. So again, that the Lamb had taken his place with the Father in Revelation chapter 5 in the heavenly throne, and now we have an earthly throne on earth in Jerusalem being built by the Lamb himself. And there's a pure river of water that flows out, and I do believe it's in Zechariah that talks about this river coming out from the throne and going in two different directions, and it causes the Dead Sea to become like fresh water and become steaming with fish and life and become a vibrant place. And so that healing power that comes forth from the Lamb's throne, it's a real river. Revelation chapter 21, we're going to backstep just a little bit into verse 27 of that chapter, and it talks about the Lamb's book of life. And it's talking about the city. It says, "But there shall by no means enter anything that defiles or causes an abomination or a lie, but only those who are written in the Lamb's book of life." And the Lamb's book of life is talked about throughout the book of Revelation. It's one of the ones that we're actually not able to do a full video on just because of time sensitivity, but it is a beautiful thing that the Lamb, not the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Lamb has a book of life that he has documented the saints' names into. And then here's another one. This is different, but it has real ramifications. This is actually all the way back to Revelation chapter 14, verse 10, but it's in context of Jesus in New Jerusalem as the Lamb. And it says, It's talking about the wicked. It says, he, the wicked himself, shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out in full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And so this is kind of a little bit of a sober note to what we just went through, the glory of the river coming from his throne, of him being like light, of there no need of a temple. But this is real, according to the biblical text, that the wicked are actually being tormented in the lake of fire within the sphere of influence of this new city, that they actually feel the presence of the Lamb. And that the Lamb, the slain Lamb, our Redeemer, that they have said no to, that they've made war against, they're actually continually tormented by him. That's a Lamb that not many of us know, but that's the Lamb of the Bible. And I want to challenge you to open up the Bible into Revelation, and I'm going to post these verses and pray through that. Do you know the Lamb where there's a river of life coming from his throne? And do you know the Lamb who will allow the wicked to be tormented by his presence, which they chose not to enter into his covenant of love for eternity? And so I want to leave that with you today. I want to bless you to go on a journey of aligning your heart with the Lamb of the book of Revelation. Bless you.